Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. My last episode I did was, I said Eisenhower Cellars is one of my favorite Washington wineries. And, you know, I got a couple of comments on it, which I thought was really cool. One sort of not supportive and one supportive of that. But remember the key word. I said one of my favorite Washington wineries. I have many favorites, and this episode right here is another one of my favorite Washington. Terra Blanca is one of my favorite wineries in Washington State. They are on Red Mountain. Keith Pilgrim is a very talented winemaker, and now his daughter is getting involved in the winemaking process, and he has made great wines over many years. And he's a very interesting person because he started out as a geologist and then turned winemaker. So you understand, this guy is very interested in what the soil can do for the wines and finding different clones that match the soil composition of Red Mountain. And you just listen to him. I interviewed him on my channel. Sorry, I interviewed him on my channel a few years back. You can search it out. Just hit Keith Pilgrim, and you'll see the interview. Now, it was a little rough. It was a long interview. I broke it up in two places, and you know, my editing skills have improved since then, but back then I just did the best I could. But you can still get the information about Keith on that video. So if you'd like to watch that, it's very interesting to listen to him talk about his winery and his approach to winemaking and all that. It's very, very interesting. One of the things he does say, though, is that, and I always was very intrigued by this comment, is that Red Mountain Reds show off a Grand Marnier flavor, but he has an addendum to that. He says, if you don't screw it up in your winemaking process, in other words, you can put too much oak on it, you can do a lot of things that will take that away. Keith is very good at letting the soil speak through the wines. And of course, that's controversial all by itself. But I do believe in terroir. I know terroir is influenced by the winemaker, and the weather and many things can influence terroir. But if the winemaker is careful, they can allow the land to speak through the wines. We're going to review 4 of his wines, their wines, Terra Blanca. His daughter's now involved. I believe her name is Kristen, and she is getting involved in winemaking. We're going to start with the one that you can't get online because I looked. This is a 2024 Terra Blanca Signature Series. So he has Signature Series, Arch Terrace, and then he has the Onyx wine, which is kind of his flagship red wine. This is the Albarino 2024 Yakima Valley. He does not source the fruit from his 300 or plus acres up on Red Mountain. This rolls in at $18. So I'm guessing that you can only get this in the store, since I don't see it on his website. Maybe he doesn't have it on there yet. Maybe he doesn't have enough to put it on his website. That could be as well too. So Signature Series from Terra Blanca, $18. Very clear, a little tiny bit of hay color to it, but very clear, golden hay. Let's see what we get on the nose. Getting a lot of like tropical fruit. It reminds me a little bit, you know, that fruit stripe gum with the 5 different stripes on it. Remember that? It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. You get some mango, you get some orange, you get some lime. I'm even getting a little bit of a coconut aroma coming out. But a lot of, like, really a lot of fruit coming through on the nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very fresh, very nice, very delicious. This is a 10 in the delicious category. You get all those fruit, you get that orange, lime, a little bit of mango, a little bit of the coconut does not come through on the palate. You got it through it on the nose, but it doesn't come through on the palate. Fresh acidity, good balance. This is a solid Albarino, and you know, of course, Spain is famous for Albarino. They do a lot of it there, and they're very good. This is a classic Albarino. Keith has done a great job with this. Like I said, a lot of fruit notes coming through on the palate. It's kind of jazzy that way and fresh at the same time, which is what you want from a white wine. You want it to be fresh and alive, and this has a lot of verve to it, a lot of energy in the palate, on the palate. Yeah, it just reminds me of that fruit stripe gum when you're chewing it. It really has that flavor profile to it. I like it a lot. I'm going to go B+, A- on that. Very, very solid wine. I was surprised I didn't see it on his website. I'll have to ask him if it's because of supply issues. Maybe he just supplies to certain retail outlets and doesn't do it online. That could be. I'll find out. Now we're moving on to the Arch Terra series. These are his, they're not really entry-level wines, but these are the lower priced wines of his portfolio. And this is the 2022 Arch Terrace by Terra Blanca Malbec, Red Mountain. So it's estate fruit, estate vineyard, 100% Malbec, $20. And we had a discussion about, and I think I mentioned it in the last episode, about how some of these Malbecs from Washington State can get like a lot of alfalfa and hay elements to them. And I asked Keith about that, and he said it's because they do not allow the grapes to hit phenolic ripeness. So they didn't get the flavors they want, and so that hay kind of comes out in there. So let's try his Terra Blanca Arch Terrace Malbec. $20. He has a beautiful winery. If you ever go to Eastern Washington and you ever get near Red Mountain, go visit Terra Blanca. Their winery is beautiful. Color on this is like reddish purple, you know, definitely reddish purple. You can see through it a little bit. Let's see what we get on those. And what I like about this is $20. So you know, a lot of wineries that make Malbec in Washington State, they tend to be up in the $30 range, and people often gravitate to Argentina. But now with Argentina, you get, you know, a lot of the good Malbecs are in that $20 range. So Keith is very competitive with that type of market. And part of that is because he owns his vineyards. That helps. So I'm getting some plum and blackberry notes, a little bit of chocolate coming through. Definitely some dark fruit notes for sure. Maybe even just a pinch of currants. I'm gonna let's see if I can read this. I don't know if I mentioned, but I am going through some cataract surgery. They did the first eye, now we're on to the second eye in about a week. That should help my reading capabilities. This says 14%, 14.5 perhaps. I can't read that small print. Sorry. Anyway, so really, really expressive nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. So you see right away, that Grand Marnier character comes through on the palate. This is classic, and you get a little bit of chalkiness from the tannins, but still smooth. This is intense Malbec. There's no hay, alfalfa. You notice I didn't get that on the aromatics. It has this nice plum, boysenberry. I even get a hint of blueberry, and there's some red fruit notes coming through as well. Could be like maybe just a little bit of cherry coming through. Very competitive with a lot of Argentinian Malbecs, but super intense, really balanced. That Grand Marnier character, it's fresh, good acidity. The acidity is nicely integrated. I'm actually, my mouth, I'm salivating a little bit. This is such a good bottle of wine. Great Malbec. Seriously, I'm going to go straight up A. For $20, if you get a chance to get the Arch Terrace from Terra Blanca Malbec, please seek it out. It's very good. This is a 22 Terra Blanca Arch Terrace Cabernet Franc, a Red Mountain, so estate fruit, $20. Now it's interesting that Keith said he resisted doing Cab Franc for a long time. It doesn't fit his palate for some reason. But he went out searching for a clone that might work on Red Mountain, and he found one, and therefore he made Cabernet Franc. And he said that a lot of his winemaking friends give him a lot of crap because he said he would refuse to make Cab Franc. Now he makes it $20. Let's see what we're gonna. Well, again, it's about the same as the Malbec, maybe slightly darker. Slightly darker. Okay, let's see what we get on the nose. Definitely chocolate on the nose. And when I say chocolate, not sweet, you know, it just has that essence of chocolate. You understand. We've had this discussion before. Definitely dark cherry notes. Chocolate. I'm even getting a little bit of that Grand Marnier aromatic on this, a little bit of that orange thing coming through on the nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. Man, I can't talk today. Again, nice intensity on the palate, but balanced. These are not fruit bombs, don't get me wrong, they're just nice intensity. They're almost crunchy. They have that nice Grand Marnier element coming through, good acidity. The fruit's there, so the acid is nicely balanced, well integrated in this one. So there's chocolate notes, there's cherry notes coming through on this. I'm even getting a little bit of a black raspberry coming through. Very, very nice, very balanced, very intense. Like both of these, because of the balance and because of the fruit and the acidity, you could lay these down easily 5 to 7 years and they would only improve. Wow. Wow. Sometimes, and this is I have a problem, this is a personal issue with me, so you guys may not agree, that's okay. I don't like it when they over oak Cab Franc because it turns into a mocha vanilla milkshake. I mean, it really does. They put a lot of oak on Cab Franc. It's really not a grape that you want to treat it with too much oak. And Keith does a nice job here, very balanced. I like this wine. I'm going to go straight up A on that one as well. These are two fantastic examples of the varietals, and they're very intense and nice and balanced and good food wines. That's the main thing right there. Now, we're going to go up to one of his big boys. Not his biggest boy, but one of them. The 2022 Terra Blanca Signature Series Cabernet Sauvignon. This is Estate Vineyards as well. Red Mountain. This rolls in at $45. 45 bucks. So, yeah, now we're getting serious. Like I said, just because I say I'm the blue-collar wine guy doesn't mean I wouldn't spend money on wine. And $45 I would spend on a bottle of wine if it's worth it. Because remember, I'm here to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. So, $45. Make sure I show you the label. I used to have a zoom-in camera a long time ago, and I don't have one now, but that's okay. Just get an idea what the label looks like. So this is the same, almost the same as the Cab Franc, really. You can see through it a little bit. Let's see what we get on the nose. This has definitely currants, but interesting, getting a little bit of bacon fat. I believe it's 100% Cab. And most of the time you get bacon fat on Syrah. It's very common to get that. I'm getting just a little bit on this wine. But definitely deep, deep currant notes on this. Just a little bit of tobacco coming through. And perhaps just a hint of chocolate as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now you're stepping up to the plate a little bit here. So you have that nice, again, the acidity and the fruit are nicely balanced. Acidity is nicely integrated. You get that Grand Marnier thing coming through underneath. And it's pushing up the currants and a little bit of chocolate. And also some tobacco notes coming through as well. A lot of high tones to this one. Seriously good cap. There's a lot of, on the back side you get a little bit of spice action, some white pepper, black pepper notes coming through on the back end, no doubt from the oak treatment. I know Keith likes to use French oak, a lot of winemakers do like to use French oak, a little bit more expensive. So when you start putting French oak on your wines, guess what happens? The price goes up. That's okay because this is a solid wine. Again, this will age, I said those would age 5 to 7, this would age 15, 20. I mean, it has that structure, that balance, just that nice intensity. It's, yeah, very good wine. I have to go AA plus on that. That's a solid wine, 45 bucks, worth every penny. There you have it. Another one of my favorite Washington wineries. Now, I might do a couple more. We're going into August, which is the second Washington wine month. Now, like I said, many times I don't really support two, but I will do some Washington wine reviews. I'm going into that showing you a few of my favorites in Washington State as far as wineries go. I don't know who I'm going to do next. Might not even do that, but I will share a few more of my favorite Washington wineries. I have more than one. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see what's going on. I appreciate all of you who subscribe. And I got a couple of comments on the last one, but I'd like you to comment. What is one of your favorite Washington wineries? I want to know. I heard one mention Codin, Mark Ryan, Fidelitas. Fidelitas is on Red Mountain. I like Charlie Hoppus a lot. He's a good winemaker. His son is now taking over. There's a lot of, and as he Codin, he mentioned a lot of the wall-to-wall wineries. But what is your favorite Washington winery, or one of your favorites? You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.